Hello biology students, and welcome to video 5 in the digestion and excretion unit. This is going to be our last video of the unit, and here I just want to kind of tie up some loose ends and discuss some things that really didn't logically fit anywhere else in the unit. Okay, so the first thing we're going to discuss is the control of kidney functions. In other words, how does the kidney know when to absorb more water out of the blood and put it in urine? How does it know when to keep more water in the blood? That kind of thing. And it turns out that this regulation is very important because it's homeostatically it's very important to have a distinct, constant amount of water in our blood. So, as you might assume, this whole process is regulated by hormones, and the main hormone that's going to play the game in regulating the amount of water we keep in our blood is called ADH, or antidiuretic hormone. So let's look at how this works. So the way you have to remember this, the role of ADH, or ADH's job is to help reabsorb more water back into the blood, okay? So if you have high ADH, you're going to absorb lots of water back into the blood. You're going to keep lots of water. And if you have low ADH, you're going to absorb less water and make more urine, okay? So if we look at this process, when you drink a liquid, that's going to be absorbed into the blood through the large intestine, like we talked about in digestion, and you're going to get lots of extra water in your blood. So as there's more water in the blood, we need to keep less water. So therefore, the amount of water reabsorption is going to drop, and ADH levels are going to drop, okay? So therefore, less water is returned to the blood, and excess water is sent out as urine. Okay, so the next little mini topic I want to discuss is the role of the liver in excretion. Now, if you remember, after nutrients are absorbed by the small intestine, remember those nutrients are put into the blood and they're sent immediately to the liver. So the liver's job in the excretory system now is it basically almost processes the blood. As the blood brings the nutrients to the liver adjusts the blood chemical content. So if there's any ammonia in the blood from breaking down proteins, it's going to turn it into urea, which we know is the main nitrogen-containing waste that the excretory system, the kidneys, are going to remove. It's also going to break down any toxic chemicals. It kind of processes those nutrients so that way when the blood gets to the kidneys to be filtered, the toxic compounds are easily recognizable by the body and able to be removed. So if we look at this process here, so in cells, amino acids are broken down, used for fuel for cellular respiration, and that might release a nitrogen-containing compound like ammonia. Ammonia is then carried in the blood, where liver is going to take that ammonia and turn it into urea, because remember, urea is less toxic than ammonia. And that urea will then be carried in the blood until it gets to the kidneys, where the kidneys will then filter it out and put it in urine. Okay, so then finally, the last little mini topic I want to discuss in this kind of random video at the end here is kidney dialysis. Now, you might have heard of someone who has to get dialysis. And basically, dialysis, what it is if your kidneys fail, you are no longer able to filter your blood. And you can only really live a couple of days without filtering out nitrogen-containing waste out of your blood. It's that toxic. So often this happens to older people as they have kidney failure. What they have to do, but 3 times a week for 6 hours, they have to be hooked up to a machine at a doctor's office, and that machine performs the jobs of the kidneys. So instead of the kidneys filtering your blood, because their kidneys aren't working, this machine takes out all the blood out of the person, obviously not all at the same time, but a little at a time, filters it, and then puts it back in the person, okay? So this machine compensates for kidney failure. It performs the functions of the neuron by removing waste from the blood and maintaining the solute concentration. Here's a picture. So you can see this person has one tube that's going to pull their blood out. It's going to go through a little membrane here where we're going to filter out all the things we don't want in the blood. Just like the nephron pulls the filtrate out, we return the things back into the blood that we do want, just like the nephron does, and then the blood goes back into the person after it's been filtered. And this takes 4 to 6 hours. People have to do it basically every 2 to 3 days for the rest of their life. So it's important to maintain healthy kidneys because this is quite the ordeal if you have to go through dialysis. Okay, And then finally, the last thing I want to point out, there are some organs in the excretory system that we have not talked about. The main excretory organ is the kidneys because it helps to remove things from the body and excrete them. However, technically skin is also an excretory organ because it excretes water and salt when you sweat. Your lungs technically excrete carbon dioxide when you breathe it out. So, I mean, there are other ways to get rid of waste other than just urea. The kidneys deal with nitrogen-containing waste like urea, but other waste like CO2, we still have to get rid of it. And finally, I thought I would close out with just some kind of fun facts. So just so you know, each kidney you have is about the size of your fist. However, even though it's that small, you have about 80 kilometers of tubules in that kidney. So again, we're trying to increase surface area, lots of room to filter our blood if we have 80 kilometers of tubing per kidney. Amazingly, we have 5 liters of blood, but it passes through your kidneys so many times that you pass between 1,100 and 2,000 liters pass through the kidneys every day. Your kidneys work hard for your whole life. That's kind of, I mean, we're lucky if we're older and they're still working. And then finally, they pull out about 100 liters of filtrate, 180 liters of filtrate, but because we return a lot of the water back to the blood, you only excrete about 1.5 liters of urine a day. So that's good. We're putting a lot of water back into our blood so it can be utilized by our body. So that's it for this unit, and I'll see you in the next one.